And then don't let me forget to share my screen so Cindy doesn't get lost, just, not seeing anything next time like I did last week. Hey, everybody, the reason we're starting all over with our Moxi series is multiple. We started in December. I was still learning more, and I have learned more last January. Some of it is because you guys have had a very busy spring and summer, and you've not been able to reuse some of the things that you have. And when you don't use something all the time, you forget it. So I'm starting over from the beginning. Now we'll move a little bit slower than we did the first time. We're keeping all the classes down to 60 minutes, or trying to. And we're going to be covering things in a way that I think will be useful to you pretty immediately. So bear with me as we go through, and I'll try to get you all set up. So today we are doing an intro to Moxi. I need to share my screen, and we're going to share that screen. Share. And Cindy, can you, and Marie, can you see the Better KS dashboard now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can too. Thank you.
Thank you. So I know several shortcuts to get into Moxi that I use all the time. But here's the deal. If you don't use it all the time, I would rather you know the easiest way to get into Moxi. Okay. The easiest way is to get into our dashboard. Now, I say that because I want each and every one of you to log into the dashboard periodically. That's where your bills are, your paperwork goes, and so on. And even if you don't use the full extent, there's still some basics you can have. So an example would be on this dashboard inside Better KS, I have now put in the events that we're getting ready to have, and they're scheduled out to October. They are in date order. And you'll see Ninja comes up every week. I think I ran you guys through to December. And for those of you who don't know about it, there's a group of 5 or 6 people that meet here every Tuesday just before we have our class. And they do the Ninja training and the accountability and the cheering each other on and getting positive statements and things that I'm not as good at as they are. So thank you guys for doing that. Today, we're doing Intro to Moxi. If you click on that, it takes you to a screen that tells you about it, a little bit more insight, and you can even buy a ticket. Now, you don't really buy tickets because they're all free. It's more of a reservation. And I don't care if you reserve or not, because I'm still sending out the calendar invite. But if you want to know what's coming up, and you say, I know everything there is to know about CMAs, so I'm not going to come to that. Then you can kind of look down the schedule and get where we're going. Let's see, where's the class? Shift or get off the pot. This is a class where it's not really a class so much as we're going to have. NAR says 91% of agents in the US right now have never sold homes where it took more than 45 days to sell. If you think about that number and what we have just gone through, where it takes 2 days to sell, these folks don't know how to market a home or take it out further, or how to acquire, or even how to change your listing presentation or your marketing approach. So we have a panel of people who've been around before 2008, since 2008, and have done things that maybe some of you newer ones haven't done. And we're going to let you query the roundtable a little bit about how do you do blank. So that's what that class is about. So there's some, and this page over here, we have links and documents. So if you want to download a buyer package, a listing package, you want the Security First app, this is an area that's got all those nice little links collected for you. So you've got a good reason to come in here anyway. But in this upper corner where it says Apps and Tools, does everybody see that?
Yes.
You click on it, you'll see we have the greenhouse and MoxiWorks. All the rest of these are just links that you can click on and do things with. But these two right here, single sign-on right into Moxi Works or the greenhouse. They work from your phone. Maybe Elena's works from her phone. We'll have to test that later. Yay. They will work from this. And the only time I've seen these not work is once every year or two, the people at Anywhere Real Estate, which is now what Realogy is, decide that we need to change our passwords so that people can't hack your account. These won't work when you need to change your password. You have to log directly into the greenhouse and say, let me reset my password. But it's only about once a year, so you don't have to get very worried about it. So I'm going to go into Moxi Works from here. And you'll see a new tab opens, and all this gobbledygook is talking about single sign-on and where I'm going and how it's set up. And then I don't have to remember the username and password to Greenhouse. Everybody got that? Okay. I am going to change accounts because I can, if someone has given me the ability to do that, I can switch users. Now, not everybody has given me the ability, but a few people have asked for help. So if you're sitting at home and you're going, oh my gosh, I can't fix this, and you call me on the phone, then we can exchange information and I can log into your account for you. If you don't give me that permission, I can't log into your account. Well, it takes a bit more than that. We'll talk about it in a minute. But the point is, all of your contacts, all of your information, everything in there is private unless you choose to share it. Brenda is not using her account much because of all the things they set up for the team, some of their lead systems, follow-up systems. That is more team-oriented than this is. So she's given me permission to pretend to be her and play with her account all I want. Yay. Okay. So when you first log in, you'll see several things across here, including Real Scout and Testimonial Tree. Those technically aren't Moxi Works programs. They're programs that I do separate that I pay for outside of this. But we've set it up so when you're in here, you can click on either one of those and go right in without having to sign in again. We'll get to that in a minute. But you'll see present, engage, your website, impress, promote, a directory of our company, Real Scout and Testimonial Tree. You'll have a search function up here. I'm not real thrilled with the search function. And you will also see some stuff down here about you and this little pencil. And you think, hey, I ought to be able to edit my information here. No, you cannot. The problem is, and what they're trying to do is simplify the way things work. And when you simplify something that's complicated, sometimes you make it more complicated in the end. So all of this information automatically populates from a back-end program called Dash. That's where we enter into Realogy your information, how long you've been a licensed, are you still licensed, your phone number, and other stuff like your picture, the paragraph that is about you, and you can add other stuff through here. So here's the deal. If you read this paragraph, at one time or another, Brenda gave me that information, and then we copied it over into Dash for her. If you get to your web info or your contact info or your personal info and you say something ain't right, I want to change it, let myself or Tracy know and we can change it for you. Your photo, your about you, your phone numbers. Your emails probably won't change because of how they're set up. Make sense to everybody? Yes, ma'am? Write it up verbatim because I don't spell check very good. Or I'm going to copy and paste it in there. Exactly. Or Tracy. Either one of us are good enough with Dash. We can help you with that. So that's Brenda's profile. I'm trying to remember where something is. I'll probably have to go to it in a minute. MLS. Well, your MLS is already set up and it comes from, again, Dash. So if you don't have any MLS access inside this program, let me know so we can be sure that we set up Dash correctly. And you cannot add or edit. The reason some of these things are set up is this program is being used by all the Realogy, Anywhere, whatever you want to call it, Caldwell Banker, Century 21, and so on. So a lot of these are already automated, and this program can also be sold to really big companies like Howard Hanna or someone that is, so they have more individual control there than we have as a Realogy client. Yeah, we're not editing it. Oh, yes, I know. Get out of my way. My brand. This one I suggest you all look at because this is where you put your signature that goes out on the emails that they send. See how I'm trying to cover more things a little bit better than I did last time. I learned. My brand is important because they have a lot of automatic emails that can be done in this system or things that will go into your present or other things. And you may say, well, I don't like the way this looks. Where do I change it? Well, this is it. Right now we're on basic, which you can see is pretty basic. Now, is there good use for basic? Yes. A lot of email providers strip out. I'm hearing something on the background. If you can mute yourself, please. They strip out pictures. So if you have a real fancy thing down at the bottom that is a JPEG and it's got all the writing and stuff in it, a lot of email programs won't let those show. So then you end up not having a signature at all. You just have thank you and it's a big blank space. So I flip back and forth on what I want to do here. A second type is templates. Well, the templates I'm going to show you are so very, very generic, if you will. You have a left aligned in desktop and mobile. You have a right aligned, which means everything's on the right side, desktop and mobile, or centered in desktop and mobile. Well, I'm going to take Brenda and I'm going to give her the centered aligned. It has to do with how we are listed at Realogy. But let me talk about the pictures real quick, because I just told you it can strip out pictures. This is a picture. This is a picture. The rest of this is all just regular type. So even if it stripped out the pictures, at the bottom, it would still say Brenda Knopfert Alliance, her license number, phone number, website, and email. Any questions about that? Once you select one, that's what it stays. I don't even think you have to save this. We just highlighted it. Now, if you hate both of those options, they have one in here that's called custom. If you click on custom, there are various things. You have a full, what they call a WYSIWYG editor. If you want to get real fancy, you know, like I think Kim Appleton made some really nice things for people, but they're all JPEGs. So if they get stripped out, there's nothing there. You could come in here and keep your picture. You could put in different types of fonts. You could write, you know, remove the alliance reference that you put. You could put a logo in here if you wanted to. You can change this and create a whole thing using all this editor. But here's the deal, folks. How much time you want to spend on this when people aren't going to get to the bottom of your emails anyway? Pick one of the simple ones and be done with it. But I want you to know there is the alternate choice if you want to go that way. You can create a really complex, nice, fancy looking one. I'm going to go back to Brenda for templates. And I'm going to go left align because I like left better than right. And then if hers got put in there, it looked like her signature was, if the pictures were stripped out, her signature is just tabbed over one. And then these pictures, nobody know were never there. Okay. Any questions about my brand? Agent tools. Listings. Unpublished, active and pending, off market. I'm going to pull over and just look at the active and pending. And what I find is this seems to run about an hour behind when you put something in the MLS. Right now, it's looking at her because I'm logged in as her. The off market, the unpublished, I think you're better off looking at the MLS. But if you're actually going in and using some of the program things that you want to make sure your listings can go into, you might want to look here. I'm not going to get into all these galleries and editing, and because if you're going to edit it in the MLS. This is a hot sheet, which you won't use here. And there's some promotion and other things there that I'm not going to get into today, but you'll kind of see, here's Brenda's listings. Now I'm looking for something I didn't see. You know, go back and see where I found that. I may have to change to me, find what I'm looking for. I'm jumping around, I'm sorry. Switch accounts, switch user. I want to be Greg again. Account settings. So see where I have this little thing that says account settings? What I have to do, I'm just demonstrating it quickly, is if you want to give me access to your account, I have to invite you using these tools. So let's say, for example, Lynn wants to say, you can have access to my account. I need help. I have to come in here, send her an invitation that will show up inside here in her account. It says, give Greg access. Okay. So that's just kind of the steps. I'm not trying to tell you guys you have to do anything. It's more of just the way it works. Okay, we briefly covered this side over here. Any questions on it? Let me show you one more thing, which I forgot. Integrated tools. There's only 2 integrated tools that I know of. Zillow and Testimonial Tree. If you got a lot of Zillow reviews and you want to continue to work with Zillow, you can turn this on so that your Zillow reviews will show up on your website. Have to do some website work to get it there, but they will pull the data in. Testimonial Tree, which is what we use for testimonials, you can turn on and click on here. Now, let me make sure I'm clear on this. On our company website, we already have several widgets pulled in so that all your testimonials get posted to the company website. And you can just link to that page. But if you want only your testimonials on your website, we are setting it up so that they can automatically come over. But you first have to turn on the page, you have to insert it onto your website and so on. And if you're not going to spend that kind of time working with your website, you don't have to do this. But it is there if you want to do it. Make sense to everybody? All of your Testimonial Tree emails are the great first name dot last name at betterks.com. Yes. Questions? Comments from the peanut gallery out there in the netherworld?
Nope.
Okay. that kind of covers quickly this My Account side. So I want to talk about the tools going across here real quickly, because what I hope you'll do is you'll go out and click on a couple and fish around in there before we have the classes. Present. They tried to make these words so that they would inspire you to do something more than what I think. In my humble opinion, present should have been presentations or CMAs, because that's basically what it is. So if you click on present, it's going to open up Brenda's presentation package, library, whatever you want to call it. And these are ones that she has done because the last I knew from Brenda, she said she preferred this to some of the other ones. Now, I've heard other people say they like Cloud CMA better, and we don't pay for Cloud CMA anymore, but they still sometimes work. When we get into the CMA class, you'll also find that they do buyer presentation, buyer tour, listing presentation. You can save pages out of this and do a pre-listing agreement and so on. But this is all about presentations that you would want to share with your client. You're presenting them some sort of information. That's where present comes from. If we were going to create new, just so you can see what they are, you have a seller, property preview, review, buyer tour, buyer, and non-listings. So let's say that I have several pages in there, one that says about BHGRE and one that says about Cheryl and about this. Well, I can build a listing presentation that's non-listing that I want to send to somebody that's self-promotion. I could build a recruiting one. I could build and incorporate some of those pages or create brand new pages. So this is what basically the presentation is. Any questions on that? Okay.
Actually, Brett, are you able to email the presentation from this platform?
Absolutely. And even better, you didn't talk in the microphone. Cheryl asked if you could email from this presentation. Yes, and all of your contacts in your CRM, and if you're using the company email, sync. So if you add a new contact in your company email, it will go into Engage, which will also come into the database for this. So as you start typing somebody's name, it'll pop up. You want to send it to John Smith, your new contact. Yes. Use the microphone. We have people online listening.
How do you add them to your email list?
What-
Because
what
mine
ca-
don't auto-populate.
Are you using Gmail or are you using our
You
email?
better if they ask.
Okay. When you add it, if you are in your company email and it has, you can add contacts in there, they shoot over here. So you don't have to go back and forth. Also, yes. And also in here, if you add a contact, it'll shoot over to your email. They go both ways.
Doesn't it automatically sync with Outlook as well? You set it up for your Outlook?
That's what we're talking about is Outlook. Yes, same thing. Okay. So this is where your presentations will lie, and they'll stay in here. As you can see, Brenda's got 3 pages of them. They'll stay in here until you delete them. So the nice thing is you've got a history. Somebody, 3 years ago, you listed my house. Let's go look at it. And these presentations, if you go back in to edit it now, it will update listings. So if you sold somebody a house 4 years ago and it's in here and you want to update the listings, you don't have to fill out the whole thing again. You can just update the listings. Again, we'll talk more about that when we're into presentation, which I think is next week. The next tool that's up here is Engage. Now, again, I don't know why they didn't say database, CRM, SOI, something that's, normal. But what they're trying to say is if I have clients, I want to find a way to engage with them. I want to be able to send them presentations. I want to see how many times they open the presentations. And that's what Engage is. Now, in my terms, I'm going to call it a CRM, but it also becomes the hub of all this. So if you make a presentation like we just looked at, and you send it to them, and it's, you know, as I said, the phone number or the email address is in there. In here, you could pull up that person and find out if they sent their, how many times they've looked at their CMA. You can find out if they forwarded their CMA to, you know, Aunt Brenda. You can look at that kind of stuff. You have to decide for yourself how useful it is, but could be done. I'm not going to get real deep into this till we get to the class, but there's something I found that was kind of important yesterday. So in here you have what they call is the dashboard, which gives you some things, to-dos and whatnot. And we'll get into how those populate and whatnot as we go. But what's happening to some of you occasionally, or more often now, is that when a lead comes to you from either our website or, you know, Brenda had one from land.com or, you know, Cardis leads and so on, I'm getting asked, well, how do you find them in here? Well, I found out that if you go to people and overview, people and the drop down is overview. That's really where you want to go to next, because you'll find out if somebody's been added to your database. Now, Brenda says no new people, and that means nothing's happened recently. You can add somebody new to your database from your phone. You can add somebody new from Outlook, but also the leads place. Like Mr. Hollenbach came from Leads Engine, and that was a land.com lead that Brenda had. So this is where they would show up. So you can say, what do I do with them next? So if you're getting these leads on your phone that say city, they say land, they say whatever they say, and you accept them, this is where you'll find them. You also get an email that's got information on them, so you don't have to go here. But if you want to start setting up what happens here, that's where you would do it. If you want to look up somebody, let's try to embarrass Brenda here. If you start typing a name there, which I didn't type very well and my keyboard didn't work, there's all the Gregs that show up for her. So I can pull up Greg. Well, Greg's not a client or non-client. There's a whole lot of things that you can do in here. But let's just for the moment say, if I had activities, Greg was added to your sphere here. How long have they been a client? There will be a list of things that come up. They open the email 3 or 4 times. Things like that. And subscriptions and way to keep in contact with your people. We'll cover this more when we come back to Engage later. But this is basically the hub that all of these other things start connecting to. Your calendar. If you choose, you can have your Outlook calendar pull in here. This calendar can also push out to your Outlook calendar. So you have to decide how you want to work and how deep you want to get in things. Campaigns is a whole class by itself. That's your drip email, your drip marketing, and so on. We will be getting to that. Are there any questions about Engage right now? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I'm looking under the goals and I'm noticing that on the right-hand side, it has all of our transactions that we've completed. And I think that's amazing. How many sellers, buyers? I mean, it's a recap of what we've done up to this point.
Is it total over the lifespan of your career?
No, just this year.
Well, yeah, I'm going to get rid. So, and they also have a bunch of things that pop up because Brenda hasn't been in here and so on. But under goals, it talks about your buyers and sellers, total completed, average price, average size. I don't know why that's there when it looks like price to me. Your close ratio. Now, it may be that she's not entering people in that she's working with, so the ratio is off. I like the transactions over here.
Is that Greg automatically done or do we have to input?
No, that comes from the MLS. Active and pending. So we want to see how many she's got active or pending right now. And I know that she's selling nearly everything she get. Total number of prospects. And sometimes it takes a while for this to GCI forecast and comparable average. It's got a lot of good stuff in it. So this is more for you, obviously, than engaging your clients, but there are some good numbers that get pulled in through here that you might want to. Okay. So let me move on to my website. Now you're going to notice when I click on my website, it actually opens up a new tab across the top.
I'm so sorry.
Microphone.
Sorry, I was looking down. Can you go back just one? I didn't see where my website.
Up here
Okay,
at the
you're still
top.
under engaged. Nope, next. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so up at the top is where we're going across the tool. Sorry, Cheryl. My website is at the top. You click on it and you go to your website. Again, I don't want to get too deep on these. This is a website product called WordPress. It's universally known for a decade. Originally, it was free. They tried to make it a lot more simplified than the old HTML, but you can still use HTML. And we will go through how to get you started and how to get it turned on. But you'll see the first thing that comes up, it says, hey, here's some things you might want to look at. And if you said, I want to personalize my style, I click on it and it takes me to the page where I will pick my style. Now, they're very limited. I'll give you this, because if you're just going to want to try to get something up and running, I want it to be green and black. Let me see if I can get rid of this down here. Oh, go away. 10, thank you. Send. Okay, now I get that back down there. I want it to be green or black, or I want it to look like this front page or that front page. Now you're going to look at this and say, wow, those are pretty limited. I want to do something more. The problem is I'd like them to have more layouts. However, this program is so totally customizable, you can spend days trying to get it there. So you have to choose what the power is. But for now, if you just wanted to go to that, and I'm going to go back to the home page and start looking down that list, personalize your style, personalize your home page, set a default search area for your searches, and so on. That's the list. And then if you have yet to activate your site, you can start reading through this. Now you may say, ooh, I'm already lost. I don't want to do it. That's okay. We're going to cover it in class. But if you can click on these and get through it and turn on your website, go for it.
Is this where if a client asks you the best place for them to do a property search, is this where you would send them, or is this where it comes from?
I have to be very careful about how I do this. It's the easiest place for you to guide somebody, because you can set up a domain for this. It says CherylSellsEverything.com. And therefore, you don't have to remember anything complicated. But this website will probably only update once an hour. So how long are active listings staying on? Well, they're starting to stay on longer, so it's not as important. We have another product that you can use that updates every 5 minutes. We'll talk about that closer to the end. So you have to decide the importance of your client seeing the latest and greatest right now. Does that make sense?
So Greg, can we take the domain connected to the website and copy and paste that into our signatures or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And in fact, if you tell me what your custom domain is, that's what we'll put in dash, so it will automatically show up on all the signatures through here. So if you have Cheryl sells everything, .com, and she says, that's my domain, send it to us, we'll put it in dash, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. There is a lot of, how do I want to say this? This program wants to make sure that all of you out there can make your website as customizable and as happy as you want. Have you guys seen the company website? Not for a while? Let me pull it up here. You can see that this was nothing like any of those two that you saw at the beginning. I have done a lot of work in this to bring our testimonials over here, and these automatically populate from the testimonial tree. I've set up searches for all of the extended townships. I think I have the main towns, and then I have all the other little towns around. And these searches, if you click on, let's say, Mays, it's going to take you to a page. It's going to take you to a page that has the pictures of the active listings. This picture comes off the Mays, Kansas website, their city website, a little bit about it, and their highlights page. So I built all this, and this looks absolutely nothing like those that you saw. So it can be very customizable, or you can keep it very simple, knowing that your people are going there mostly. I did a lot of this just to get higher up in the search engines. But people are looking for houses, they aren't looking for much else. I have the BHGRE life. I've got all about selling a home, whether you should rent or buy. I mean, all of these things across here. So the bottom line is, if you want to get into a very customized, this rotates, I've got this in here, website, you can do it. I even put a video of fireworks back there over the city. So I don't know how much we're going to get into the advanced for this. We're going to have a basic website to get it started. We're going to have some advanced. And if somebody says, I want to build like you did, then we're going to get very advanced. Okay. That's going to be you guys telling me where you want to be. But I figured as a company site, we need to have a little more splash maybe than some of the other stuff. Okay. I'm going to close this tab and go back over here to the home page. So we were on website. We're going to be on Impress. So Impress, again, when we're talking about what the names are across the top, we had Present, Engage, My Website, Impress. This used to be called and was sold as a separate product called Imprev. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Imprev before. And it's actually going to be replaced by an even better product, or supplemented by a better product, in about another 6 months. But the idea of Impress is, how do you make an impression on my clients? So don't think impress, and think impression. They've got ad templates if you want to do print ads. You can make up brochures in here that are multi-fold or single page. You can pull in and you can make an e-card. So if you want to email somebody a card, comes out of there. Flyers, postcards, social media, and so on. It will even take, you know how a lot of other agents get their, they call them virtual tours, and I call them slideshows. Okay. A true virtual tour to me is where you can do 360 and look at it, but they call them, this will take your photos from the MLS and make a slideshow for you. Okay. I don't want to get in deep on this because I think you can click around in here and figure some of it out. But it also has a single page website. Remember, there was a time where you are a single address website. So you could say, I want a website for 1, 2, 3, 4, someplace, and it would create it for you. It will do that. You can edit existing products. You can create them. And it also pulls in information from Dash, which is your picture, your write-up, those kind of things. And it pulls in information from the MLS. I believe the way it's set up, and I'll give you an 80% on this, is not only can you do all this stuff for your listings, but every agent in the company's listings should be in here if you want to put them on Facebook and so on. As a general rule, while I technically can give you that permission, I think it is wise and courteous to call the agent and say, do you mind if I share your listing on Facebook? Now, I will tell you that Brenda, I know for a fact, has said you can use any of my listings anytime you want. Help yourself. But I think you should at least make that attempt or contact once and make sure it's okay. What we don't want to do is start a fight in the company. I don't like those. But there are ways, and we will look at this in one of the later classes, where you've got the stuff from the MLS and it pulls in the write-ups and the prices and so on. Okay? Questions? How am I doing, Cheryl? Better? Pace good?
Really?
I'm trying to learn. Okay. The next one is promote. And I have to be perfectly honest. I don't know I can be anything else. I have done next to nothing in here. My impression is we're going to help you post paid ads, which means you have to take your credit card out in a couple of places. I don't know if it's a good deal. I don't know if it's a bad deal. I think
Pay for this?
Hmm?
You have to pay for this?
Yes, your credit card, not mine. Sorry. I know, hard to believe. I don't know how good it is. I don't know where they post them. I do know that they have MLS information in here. One of the brief readings I started to do seemed to be that you could post an ad on Google about a specific property with a picture. I don't know how it works. I don't know if I want to mess with it. And the way things are selling right now, it'd probably be kind of silly. But if you want to look at it, that's what promote is about. And then I didn't even look at view service ads. So we'll take a quick look here. And you can start looking at how to build an ad here, which I'm not going to do today. If somebody says, man, I really want to know more about promote, let me know and we'll do that. I don't have it on the schedule right now. Questions? How am I doing on time? I don't even know what time it is.
10:55.
Quarter of, okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Microphone.
I don't want to have to.
Well, we're recording it and the people out there in Netherlands need to hear you.
Not funny. But my question is why would you use this with it being a seller's market right now and listings not being on the market oh, is that your point?
Yeah, right now I probably wouldn't. However, I don't expect it's going to stay a seller's market like this forever. I know, hard to believe, but I'm sure it's going to change. If there's one thing we know about the market, it will change always. I would never would have thought in 2008 we'd be putting listings up and having 20 offers in the first day. So it may not be worth it. Now, it might be that this also has a way to advertise you and your services. Maybe you want to do that. I get kind of gun shy when they want to charge me money because there's a lot of things I can do on my own. But I did want to tell you it's there. Real Scout. Real Scout is the program that I was telling you was the one that updates the listings every 5 minutes. You all have access and you click on it and you come in here. I'm not going to get real deep into this today, but that's what Real Scout is. And Real Scout, while a standalone program, it also integrates with Moxi Engage. So if you put a client in Real Scout, it goes over into your Moxi Engage. What doesn't happen is if they're in Moxi Engage, they don't all push over into here. And the reason they don't do that is because if you got a plumber in there that's never going to buy a house from you, do you really want them in here? All of these people are clients. So that's why they push the other way. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. I'm going to go back into this. The directory is nothing more than a company directory. I'm guessing almost all of you know who's in the office at some point, but it's there if you want it. And finally, Testimonial Tree. Oh, it won't log me in there because I'm Greg Fox and I don't have an account. I have the manager account. I'm just going to talk about it for a minute and then we'll go back to Testimonial Tree later. Well, let me do this. Because I have a manager account, I don't have a, Cheryl.Hubert@betterks.com. I have this to look at the whole management. So Testimonial Tree is where again, most of this is automatic and I don't want to get too deep in it. When you close something and we give you a paycheck, that's the fun part, right? Right after that happens, and this program is triggered to send an email to your client to say, how did I do? Some of you don't give us your client's email address. That's okay, it's your choice. But the program is designed, and I hope it works, that if you don't give us an email address, you get an email that says, hey, you didn't send a testimonial to Jane Smith. You want Jane to get a testimonial. And so if you type in the address, then this program sends it out. Is it working? I saw some heads. Okay. That's because I don't want to push you into doing something you don't want to do. When this sends out, they are asked 3 basic questions. How good was the service? 1 star to 5 star, 5 being the best. Would you, what are you laughing at? Noise? Yeah.
Okay, so where would they access the email address from?
It comes from when you turn in a deal to us, we put the email address and that back end thing where you have your client's name and stuff. That's
So
where
it
it
has
comes
to be in
from.
Ben.
From Ben. Okay, so
How many different emails are our clients getting asking for testimonials? I mean, and I'm not talking just from this. It's like, is there 5 different emails my client's going to get?
right now, this is the only one that I'm aware of. There's nothing else coming from Realogy because I turned it off. Having said that, Cardis people get a different setup. So that's a very narrow subset here.
If you'll notice, my name's up there twice with the same client. That's because I sold him a house and I sold his house. So
Uh-huh.
I had it both sides.
Congratulations.
Well, that's not what I was pointing out, but he's going to get 2 from me, not just 1.
Yes, but that's relatively rare. And technically, you could log in here and turn that off for the second person if you wanted to. I think most of us are going to say, I like the automation. I don't want to log in and do things. But let me keep going a little bit. There's 3 questions, and I'm trying to remember specifically what they are, but it's star rating. Would you recommend this person? And I think the last one is, how did you find the house you purchased? It's the only questions, not really long things. If their star rating is a 4 or 5, they get a second email. And the second email says, would you like to write a testimonial? We do that on purpose because we don't want somebody slamming us in places that we don't want to be slammed. And you can always go back and contact these people and say, well, you only gave me a 1-star rating. What did I do wrong? I'm not going to do that for you because I don't want to interfere if you don't want me to.
So if a testimonial is done for us, it notifies us. We get an email saying there was a testimonial done.
I believe so. I also know that they will show up on your dashboard. I'm looking at everybody. And then they're also displayed on our company website. I have 2 minor ones up front, and then I have a page of all our testimonials going back forever. Okay. Again, this is all entirely automated so that you don't have to do anything to get it going. I like it being automated because that's less that you have to worry about. Makes sense? But if you want to log in here, I don't know if I can get back over to, let me see if it'll take me back. If you want to log in here and see what your testimonials are, you can click on that little link right on the end that says Testimonial Tree, and it takes it over to your dashboard for the testimonies. Then you can see who got emails, who didn't, and so on. You don't have to remember log in, a URL, or anything else. You just click right there. So before next week, here's your homework. I would like you to be sure you can log into Moxi. I think it's fairly easy. I would take a look at Present just to kind of get a feel for it. And also because if you come back and say, I couldn't figure it out at all, well, I know where to start. If you got knee deep in it and you have a question, I hope we answer the question next week. So that's kind of why I'd like you to at least look at it. And then I'd like you guys just for fun to click on Testimonial Tree and see if your clients have said anything good or bad about you. Tulia, I know they're starting to make more and more of this stuff in Spanish. You may not want it all in Spanish because if you have an English speaking client, then they're looking at the Spanish going, huh? And there's not a way for it to tell, you know, but there is stuff in there if you want to mess with it. So that's what I wanted to cover today, kind of what these tools were. And if you want to get to that admin section that we got up front, you'd click on your picture and go down to My Account. And it will take you back to that front admin page for you to hit your branding, to get your, see if all this is correct. Contact info.
But we can't make any updates. It has to come through.
I wish you could, but you can't. So please, if you want to make an update, say, wow, my direct phone number is wrong. I want a different one. I looked on the web info page and I don't like the paragraph. Here's what I'd like inserted. I don't like my picture. Here's a new one. Okay. All right. Any questions from anybody?
This was really helpful.
You said you can send any updates to you or Tracy, right?
Either one of us. Yes. Pam's got a question.
I have a Gmail account. I don't use the Kansas better. Thank you, KS.com. I don't mix the company emails with my other email. That's probably a negative. But I did talk to Tracy about opening up a new Outlook account in the same scope. If I do that, will it integrate like the betterks.com or it won't?
What kind of account are you going to open up?
Just another email.
Is it Outlook?
Outlook.
Is it going to be your personal one or ours?
It'll be a business one.
But I mean, well, see, ours is set up so that everybody who is using our domain, which is a betterks.com,
Okay.
it fully integrates. If you get an outside source, I don't know, because of the way it looks at the domains. And I had to do some work in the background. Technically, it should be able to integrate with Gmail, but I'm not entirely sure it works very well. Gmail?
Can we both talk like this?
Yeah.
Cheers. It does integrate with Gmail because I have all of my infant home stuff forwarded to my Better KS.
Okay.
And so everything forwards to my Better KS. So
So
that
you
I-
use it as a forward to Gmail. What I'm talking about is you don't even have to use Better KS, and it's supposed to integrate with Gmail, but I've not seen it successfully work. I think you'd be better to forward your Gmail into the Better KS, including your contacts, and then it would all work.
I've been on Gmail for a very long time.
Me
And
too.
back when, yeah, I just never switched and then, the Better KS email. I mean, we get a lot of things from Better Homes and Gardens and we get the in-house emails. I mean, you guys can tell me how you manage that, but I don't manage that. And I
Well-
think that's the downside. I need to learn how to manage that and move all of that. Yeah, so. there
And
we
you
go.
can start slowly, just start sending from Better KS,
Right.
but it's more professional, hands out all out. It's just a higher level of perceived professional.
I'm going to give you my overall views of that. We provide a very high level of security for your email inside the company. One of the things that you guys don't see that happens is we have a barracuda that works in the background behind our email, and it scans all of your incoming email to take out a lot of the phishing and other stuff. And I get notices all the time of this email went through, you might want to talk to blank. But it also scans outgoing email so that if you've got negative links or something in there that they know is a virus, it takes that out. It's not to stop your email, it's to keep that link from being used. Now, and that all happened because Lisa Carter was here. Love Lisa. Her email got hacked and her Gmail, and a wire transfer of $180,000 that was supposed to go to Security First went to a bank in New York City, to the Oriental Trading Company or something. So, got involved, and it was, lawyers in 3 states and all kinds of things. So we set up our email the way we do it. However, to go the other way, there are brokers who have been less honest with the use of email, and agents have been coached. Get your own domain, your own email, because your broker will take all your leads and all your contacts after you leave here. Well, I understand. We do turn off email after a while, but I don't take your leads, I promise you, because your clients know you. They don't know me and they don't care about me, But because of that, many people refuse to use anything but email from their own domain. So I see both sides. I think we provide a very high level of security and professionalism, but you got to choose what's right for you. Okay. Any other questions? And I'm going to stop the recording.